Hey guys, ajorsini here, and I just want to start this one off, first time ever, episode 31 here, and I'm going to start you guys off with a bit of a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is please be careful with your eardrums. So here's what's going down. Here at Orsini's Uncensored Mind, I like to keep full honesty with my fans and let them know exactly what's going on when it's going on. So this week, I had sat down, as a matter of fact, this past Monday, sat down with a good buddy of mine, the authentic Brandon Lewis, came over to the House of O, and we sat down and we deliberated comic books, talked about it. Comic book week, so we got into it. TV shows, movies, Comic-Con, I mean, everything you can possibly think of, we discussed. Now, before we did our recording, the equipment was checked. I always do an equipment check. I always do a sound check. I do recording bits to make sure that it's coming out the way that I want it to come out and the quality in which I want it to come out in. Everything was A-okay. So after a few minutes of testing everything out and making sure we were both on the same page, technically, we went ahead and commenced with the recording. And as the recording went through, I always listen to the show as I record. Any guest who's been in my home will tell you I wear the headset the entire time. And the audio sounded great, clear, crisp, everything sounded good. Conversation was good, had a lot of laughs, had a good time. Left it that way, and then the next day I went in for editing, which is the normal process. I recorded it pretty much late at night. It gets recorded, and then the next day I go in for editing and all that stuff. And the audio on Brandon's end is fantastic. It sounds great. For some reason, the audio on my end is the shits. It's terrible. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it happened. I've sent this happened on Monday, and I looked at the audio Tuesday morning. So about a 24-hour period of straight panic, sadness, depression, and a wheel of emotion here. But we've been trying to get the audio picked up here and fixed, and it just seems to be a complete 100% no-go. The audio, the decibels for the audio was extremely high. So I had a few options, one of which was to scrap it completely because, I want to put out good quality. I want to put out good audio quality so you guys will enjoy the show. But I've been very committed to doing this content stuff week to week to week to week, and I feel like breaking that would be a really bad idea. The second would be to reshoot it, but that's impossible because I had a guest with me, and he's got his schedule and I've got mine. And to schedule it in the first place is kind of a pain in the ass. To do it a second time is just... It's just not going to happen, especially in the time frame in which we needed to get it done, and it wouldn't have worked. Third is to edit it in a different fashion. Would be to redo my parts, and that would just take forever because it was quite a long recording. Another option would be to redo it in interview form, but that takes away from the conversation that we had. The bottom line is I don't have a whole lot of options here that are very appeasing. So what I decided to do was do this disclaimer for you and let you know that I would rather... I'm going to be honest with you. I love the content that we have. I love the conversation. It felt good. It was a great time. And I want you guys to have the good time with us. Not my best work here. I'm not happy about this. Very disappointed. Very sad. This is the content I've been waiting for forever. I was going to share this shit out to a bunch of different people. Non-wrestling fans were getting ready to listen to my show for this episode, and I feel like a ball was dropped here. I take responsibility for it. Obviously, my equipment, my show, my name. So I will take full responsibility for it. I've had my equipment checked since Monday, and everything is fine. As you can hear now, the microphone is fine. It's the same microphone that I used before, the same equipment that I've used before. I'm using it right now. And I had it checked yesterday, which was Tuesday. And so I have no clue how it happened, which sucks because usually when you make a mistake, you learn from your mistake and you move forward. But I don't know what made the mistake. And I've had people who know better than me when it comes to this equipment look at my equipment and tell me they don't know either. So the only thing I can do at this point is just move forward and bite the bullet. But in the future, I guess I got to figure out what I'm going to do as far as my equipment. Maybe time for another upgrade, I guess, because this is new equipment, so kind of shitty if I have to spend another bunch of dollars for new equipment, but I'll do what I have to do to keep this thing going because this has become a passion of mine, and I want to keep going with it. So this is just a quick 5 minutes just to explain what's going on. If you are listening through earbuds, my suggestion at this point now would be to lower it down a smidge because it's not like you can't hear what I'm saying, but it's a little muffled. It gets loud at some points, especially with my Seth Rogen-like laugh, I guess. there are moments where it gets a little pitchy. So Brandon's comes out really good, and Brandon likes to rant. So whenever you get to Brandon parts, I guess you can jack it back up. But if you feel like he's coming to an end and I'm coming in, go ahead and lower it down. It's going to be a game. Let's play a game. The not blow my ears out game. You guys can play that game and enjoy the show. I mean, take the content for what it is. I mean, the audio is not so good, but the content I think is awesome. I think we had a really good conversation about comics, and you guys are going to really get into it. So this is just me taking a moment. Thank you again for downloading. I'll get into all the plugging stuff during the episode. I'm not going to go through all that now. So thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the show. Because it was Comic Book Week.
Hall H.
Reading the comics after you saw the movie.
Twitter fights.
And it's all been leading up to this.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being so incredible.
We couldn't have done any of this without you.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody? This is AJ Orsini, and I'm your host for Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and we are here today for episode 31. And we are in the midst, we're midway through Comic Book Week. I need to edit that, by the way. It needs to be like the echo. Comic Book Week. We are just midway here. And upon airing of this episode, we will be 48 hours away for the regular paying customer. For those of you who were lucky enough to get those pre-screens, I do believe the Avenger Infinity War movie will be pre-screened starting Wednesday. And then there'll be some select showings on Thursday. So the real scumbags of the internet will be out Friday morning to fuck with people's lives. But we are doing all this in spirit of the 10 years, 18 films of the MCU. This is what we've been building towards. This is everything that Kevin Feige has been doing for the last decade. Putting this all together this Friday, Infinity War will be coming out. So we've been doing a lot of comic book stuff this week. I went wrestling heavy for WrestleMania week and weekend, and now I'm going comic book heavy because when I like, baby, I love and I obsess, apparently, and I have to go all the way with everything that I do. So all over the social media all week, we've been having discussion, we've been having conversation. But tonight, I will not be having conversation alone. I have brought a friend, an expert, if you will, a guy who's going to come in, and we're going to throw some ideas back at each other, back and forth. We're going to talk comic books. We're going to talk about a lot of things involved in the nerd verse, if you will. But before we get to my guest, I will intro him just in just a few seconds. I have got to pay a few bills and say a few more thank yous. I know it's getting redundant with these thank yous, but you have got to bear with me because I am a thankful sumbitch because I am inching ever so close to 800 downloads. That's right, 800 downloads. I have to thank all of you for that. I have to thank my new international friends. Apparently, AJ Orsini and Orsini's Uncensored Mind has traveled the pond. We're getting downloaded in other countries. I got Germany, I got Canada, I got the UK, I've got Ghana. My Ghana brothers and sisters, thank you so much for downloading the show. I'm hoping to grow even more and do a whole lot more things, and episodes like today will help that happen. If you're watching or not watching, you can't be watching. I'm not doing video just yet. Still on that audio tip. But if you're listening to the audio, Podbean, ajoum.podbean.com is the place to catch all of your Orsini fixes. That's the place where you can get your fix. Is ajoum.podbean.com is where I upload all of my episodes. Of course, I have other platforms in which you can catch the show. If the Podbean app is either being a bitch or you just don't feel like downloading it, you can head over to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, and the TuneIn Radio app to get your Orsini fix. Now, I keep mentioning every week that I'm going to get on other platforms and find out about all that stuff, but I have been swamped with work and school and wrestling and all kinds of stuff. So this is going to be the summer of all. As soon as I can get my hands free, from all of life's little inhibitions, I will be able to expand the show even further. But even for what I've been doing, I mean, the downloads are up, the shares are up, trending is up. I'm going overseas here with these downloads. The hustle is real, folks. It's happening. We're pushing forward. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one doing it. I've got some friends who've been doing the heavy lifting, and one of them is here today. You might remember him from his infamous appearance at the WrestleMania Roundtable. He is one of my best friends in the entire world, and if I was gay, I would totally be gay for him. But I'm not gay. I'm super hetero, which is more than the average amount of hetero. I'm just being open-minded about the situation. What a great guy, and one hell of an intro for the authentic Brandon Lewis. Mr. Lewis, welcome back to the House of O, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me. What an intro.
I know. Definitely one of the more unique intros I'm sure you've ever had.
Oh, yes.
Not too many people openly admitting they would be gay for you if it was possible.
No, more people should. More people should.
Absolutely. Everyone should. But, yeah, so we're here. Normally when you and I are in a room together, it's usually either to do wrestling, talk wrestling, or talk to other people and educate them about wrestling. Today is not...
I try to do as little education in that field. I let people just
do their own thing.
Whatever they're... I want nothing to do with educating about wrestling. It's like, let them discover for themselves. I don't care.
Well, now you're at that point. Before, all the many years before that, we struggled mightily. As a matter of fact, I think it was one situation where we were standing online for a Ring of Honor show where that was the end of that. You were done. You tapped out at that point and trying to explain anything to wrestling fans at that point.
Yeah, so I'm very glad that today is not a wrestling episode.
No, and you know what's
I
fun?
enjoyed the WrestleMania episode. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, so you did hear it. Okay.
Yeah, and I heard it, but it's just a pleasure being here. But
Oh yeah. I had to explain to the audience like the episode after about how much bourbon and whiskey we actually got through when we were doing that round table. By the time the round table was over, like I told the audience, it wasn't really hitting me during the round table. It was after the round table when we sat down and watched the takeover where everything went haywire for me. Literally haywire. So, but we're not here to talk about wrestling today. For once, me and you are actually here to talk about another passion of ours. Because like I said, we are in the midst of Comic Book Week here at Orsini's Uncensored Mind. So you are a bit of a aficionado, so to speak. You've got this history when it comes to the comic world.
I'm a bit of a nerd, yeah.
A bit of a nerd. And we're going to start with that. Hold on. We're going to start with that because that's one of the directions that I definitely wanted to take this episode because I think one of the biggest, let's talk about why we're celebrating this for just a second. Infinity War is coming out and literally from the airing of this episode 2 days. Infinity War has a roster list of some of our favorite comic book characters literally of all time. You and I now live in a world where this is not only happening, but it's the hottest thing to ever happen in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
This once upon a time was something that we used to read in the corner of the house where nobody would bother us, and now it's mainstream. It's pop culture. Right. It's the thing to do. It's almost like being a nerd used to get you beat up back in the days, and now now the nerds are the bullies now because if you go on the social media, you start talking bad about their movies, they start ganging up on you. How has this whole transition been for someone like you? I mean, you used to read comic books when you were a kid, and now here you are, full-grown adult, and this movie is literally about to drop. It's about to happen.
I'm super excited for it. I'm fortunate because I didn't have to deal with, I never really had to deal with, bullies or things like that because I feel that, I don't know, I was raised in the right age, raised in the right era where I don't want to say comic books were always popular, but there was less hiding about it because, in the 90s you had, it's like the big cartoons were like Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man, X-Men, and if you weren't watching these shows, even if you weren't reading the comic books, you were watching this show. You didn't have to read the comics to be into superheroes. And then, Marvel versus Capcom was the big thing. The video games were really good. Exactly. But there was still, I never felt like I had to hide in the shadows about it. But it didn't really feel like comic books or loving comic books was celebrated like it is now. And
I think you also have the benefit of being born in a city that didn't really... Yes. dampen your enjoyment toward that, because I could give you an example of somebody who lived, I don't know, Topeka, Kansas, where everything is football and prom, and all of a sudden here you are, the guy reading the Wolverine comic in the corner. You probably got a wedgie or two back in the day. I mean, I still feel like, even though we grew up on, like, for instance, the cartoons you brought up, we came up in an era where the X-Men on Fox and Spider-Man and all this different stuff, but I still feel like at that time it was still niche. Like, it was still, like, even though it got good ratings, Batman the animated series was huge, but I still feel like it was niche. It's not like now where everything is comic books, shows, movies, merchandise. I mean, it's comic books right now is kind of ruling the world at this point. I mean, it's got James Cameron pissed off right now. He's angry as fuck right now about all this shit, man, because this shit's working.
Shoot. First of all,
we're actually using the words Avenger fatigue. That's crazy. Like, that's how far we've come with this. Now it's like, aren't we sick of this by now?
That's I'm not sure if that's even a real thing. I've used the phrase myself, but before Avengers fatigue, it was event fatigue, and this was really just a comic book related thing, because it seemed like, I don't want to say Civil War, the comic, not the movie. Probably before Civil War, but definitely that era. It seemed like every year, every summer, there was an event. And it wasn't just Marvel, it was DC, whether it was,
the Killing Joke,
Crisis, and then the Infinity Crisis, and all these crises, the new 52s,
Marvel had
even before the new
The House
52s,
of M, Days of Future Past, Civil War,
And so there was the real big worry of event fatigue, and so it's tough, because I don't know, it's hard to say yes this exists when you're still selling all these tickets.
Well, let's start. Well, that's a good point. Let's start back at the beginning here and go back to the word nerd.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck even is that now anymore? Do we have a definitive definition of what that shit is at this point? I mean, because there's the stereotype to it that what it used to be, but now, I mean, George Clooney's going to these movies now, and it's like it's such a huge deal now.
I mean, there is some. There is, I don't want to say some existence to it. The real way that I don't like someone is when you start, and I don't want to knock anyone for their appearance. Be yourself.
Knock them. No.
be yourself, live your life. But, when I was growing up, watching shows like Saved by the Bell or
Zach
whatever
Morris
show.
is trash.
I love that.
That's been trending, by the way.
But if you were a nerd, the idea of you was Screech. You wore the suspenders, or you had a funny voice, or you had the pocket protector. Urkel was another good example. These were the example of people who liked science fiction, comic books, not so much video games, because I think video games was given the pass. Like Nintendo was so much a part of the 80s that video games were given the pass.
Right.
But like comic books, Dungeons and Dragons, reading.
Reading, recreational reading.
Yes, then you looked like Screech, or you looked like Urkel. That was the appearance. So now, while I don't judge people for what they love, and loving them for the quantity, like however much you love them, go ahead and be a geek about it, be a nerd about it, whatever word you choose. But when I start judging people is when I feel like you're living up to that old stereotype. I start feeling like you're representing
the old guard.
Yeah.
It's like we've evolved since then.
Yeah.
Because first of all, nerds, like when you start thinking about nerds, you think comic books, but everyone reads them now.
Yeah.
You think computers. Oh, he's a computer nerd, but now everything is on computer. So it's like I'm starting to find a problem where the hell that line even. Oh, he's got glasses. He's a nerd. Like everyone's got glasses.
If you love something really, then you're a nerd. You nerd about it. And there's nothing wrong with being a nerd about something or geeking out,
Right.
everyone, you know, a lot of people have cars. But then there's the aficionados that like really like, you know, Tim Allen on Tool Time.
Everything under the hood is memorized. It's just like, yeah.
And to me, like, I'm not someone who's really big into cars.
No.
So that's never been it for me. And the same way that people look at me weird, like if you start talking, you know, football stats and things like, I'm just like, all right, buddy. Like,
I'll take your word for it.
you know, I'm a Mets fan. I don't watch a ton of sports. I do like the Mets, but I don't have a whole bunch of Mets memorabilia posted in my
You
house.
flip it through channels, it's on, you catch a score or something like that.
So it's to me, if you're a fan, you're as much a nerd as anyone else. You know, you're a fanatic. That's what fan means. You're a fanatic, and that's what a nerd is to me.
But when you start thinking about the hardcores, and now, like we just said at the beginning of all this, with Infinity War coming out, I mean, people are already projecting this might be the highest grossing movie, literally, in the history of movies. And that's great, but the difference between 10 years ago from when the MCU started to now is huge in fan base. The amount of audience that these movies have brought to the quote-unquote nerdverse. How has these common movie fans, have they influenced the nerdverse in any way? Are they ruining the source material for the hardcore fans? Because I'll give you an example. When these trailers hit for Infinity War, you know, I'm sitting in the shower or whatever. I'm going through the phones. I'm going through the YouTube comments, and I got a bunch of people who know jack shit about any of the movies, but loved Black Panther. And then they go and they see the trailer, and they're like, "Oh wow, okay, Black Panther's gonna be in this movie. I want to see it." And I have this gut feeling, like they're gonna see this film. They're gonna see about 10% of T'Challa, and all of a sudden the movie's gonna suck the next day. It needed more Black Panther. Why? Because it was the only character they knew.
Right.
So how does the new fan, the movie fan, the MCU fan now just coming into the fold here, how does that affect the enjoyment here when it comes to the true hardcores?
I try not to judge too much because then I'd be a hypocrite.
Right.
I feel like when you hear sports fans talk about it most, the bandwagons. Oh, they hate bandwagon fans.
That exact situation, yes.
I love bandwagon fans because the bandwagon is the one that brings in the money. We love the hardcore because you're consistent. You'll keep everybody fed.
Yeah, but they have to gear it toward the casual.
Yes, it's like if you want, we would not have Infinity Gauntlet if it wasn't for the casual.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Because the hardcore fans came out for Blade.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They came out for Howard the Duck too.
And Blade, great movie.
Blade was awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
movie. I wasn't gonna say anything bad about it. I got nothing bad to say about Blade, but it's not hitting. You know, like when you look at tickets sold, it did.
Right.
It's nowhere near. You know, even Spider-Man 1 for Sony.
But I always include Blade. There was another one I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I always included Blade in that situation. Like the way that I would categorize Blade is Blade was Moses. Blade laid that foundation down and took you to the promised land, but didn't actually go in himself.
Right.
Like he laid the groundwork. He laid the groundwork down and showed you how to blend that comic with real world, modern time, and showed you how to do that. Blade did the one thing that the original Captain America and the Fantastic Four and the Nick Fury movies from like the early 90s and stuff, they were very cartoony. They were able to take source material that's already dark and move that into the movie field, and they did it perfectly. And while it didn't gain the attention like you're saying as these movies did, I felt like they made kind of the formula to start with. Here's a template that we can take, and then we'll go from there. Because if you look at the original Iron Man, which started the MCU, it wasn't a very cartoony film at all. No. It seemed like a legit,
but
it had its funny moments, but it wasn't like, it didn't lose you with the goofiness.
No,
you know, especially when they had the Mach 1. They had funny moments with that Mach 1, with the fire when they're taking the bullets and my turn and all that stuff. But they kept it somewhat close to the source material, but they weren't afraid to just be a movie. They did their own thing with this, and I think Blade had a lot to do with that. However, do you concur with that assessment? Or?
I absolutely agree, because when you look at like previous comic book movies,
David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury. That's
I
it.
didn't even
That's
count
the end
that
of
one.
it.
That did not have a theatrical release. That was a made-for-TV movie. We all knew it was going to be bad, and if you watched it, that was your own fault.
The Fantastic Four and one in the pajamas.
No, but like, all right. So you look at the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeve.
I'm glad you said that. Let me preface the comments that I just made about Blade for the Marvel side, because DC's been doing it big in the movies for quite a while.
Yeah, but I feel like
They
Christopher.
were a good Goofy. Superman was kind of a good Goofy.
Yes, because I didn't feel like I felt like they still had respect. Christopher Reeve still is to me the best embodiment of Clark Kent and Superman.
The blend, yes.
And
I felt like those were two different people when he did
Yes.
it. I didn't feel that way with the new guy.
Same.
I forgot his name.
And I liked him.
Clark Kent feels like Superman in this new version of it, but that's just my opinion of it.
No, I agree with you, and I think that's why so many people are critical with like
Henry Cavill, sorry.
Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. A lot of people feel the same way. But so there was a little bit of goofy because you had Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, and Gene Hackman's not my ideal Lex Luthor because Gene Hackman's that's where it got kind of corny for me. A little cheesy. With
Who did it
Gene
better,
Hackman.
Gene Hackman or Kevin Spacey?
Neither, because Kevin Spacey.
Neither were a good
I don't think
Lex.
there was a single good live action Lex Luthor for my personal taste.
Okay.
Give me the animated Lex Luthor any day of the
Okay.
week.
Any version of the animated.
It's like maybe the Smallville.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the Smallville Lex.
Well, but the Smallville had it easy though. He was able to develop that character over time,
Yeah.
so it grew on you.
But that's like saying I don't like Kingpin doesn't count on Netflix because
Michael Clark Duncan was a badass Kingpin.
he was.
Let's not shit on that version of it. That was the one good part about that movie.
But I'm gonna get back on track because see, here's the thing: it's dangerous when you and me have a conversation.
Yes, we
This
do
can
veer.
go-
Don't worry, I'm keeping an eye on it. Don't worry about it.
But
this is the one time I actually have to pay attention to when we start veering off on conversations.
No,
yeah.
but it's what you said about Blade is right because prior to that, I feel that there was a little bit of goofiness. There was the attempt at like comic book had to look and feel comic book. We don't
Yeah.
even have to go superhero. If you
Yeah.
watch Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy, they did everything they could to make that comic book. I think there was even panel changes, some
Yeah.
of the color.
Which I'm not gonna front. At my age at that time, I kind of dug it a little bit.
No, I
the
think it's awesome.
cinematic graphics
I'm
of
not
it,
even
yeah.
complaining, but
But I get it now as an adult. If I would have watched that as a 30-year-old, I would have thought it was crazy. Yeah.
I still enjoy it, but you notice more that they're trying to make it comic book. With Blade, they weren't trying to make it comic book; they were trying to make it Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, it was like a very dark, kung fu black guy doing crazy shit movie. Yeah.
And he added to the character. Like, as far as I'm concerned, look, if you look at 70s Blade, he had a fro and a green jacket, and it was awful.
Let's not get started with 70s Luke Cage.
Yeah, it was so bad when you look at 70s Blade. So, to me, Wesley Snipes in Blade set the tone not just for movies, but really he added to the character. And that became the same thing we see for Tony Stark. Now we can't expect anything else from Iron Man. In comic books, he's written to almost look like him, speak like him, be that witty. Robert Downey Jr. I'm always afraid that I'm gonna mix him up with the Morton Downey Jr.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's funny because
that is a weird reference. I apologize for anyone who Googles it.
Marvel did a quick little excerpt of video celebrating what I introed at the beginning of this, which is why I did it, because that's been their mantra for the last few weeks, 10 years, 18 movies, building up to the MCU. And there was a couple comments made in the promotion of all this, and they were calling Robert Downey the godfather of it all because of his performance in the first movie that sparked all this interest and got all these movies made. I would like to amend that. I don't now his performance should not be looked at differently. It was a great performance. I would like to give the title of Godfather to Jon Favreau, because I think Jon was able to. We just spoke 2 seconds ago about how it all played out movie-wise, and that fine balance between comic source material, comic look, and real movie feel. And I felt like John did that perfectly in Iron Man. Not just the cinematics of it, but the way he drove the story from the arc reactor to Mach 1 to the hot rod colors, and just everything that he did in that first movie, and his involvement with the MCU movies after. He's either been a director for the Iron Man movies, an executive producer on the Avenger films. He's helped out as far as most of the films that have been done in some sort of capacity as a reference. I think Jon Favreau has had a huge part in the MCU.
I think it's not that I disagree. It's hard to disagree with your argument there, but his presence, while influential, right down to him having the, if it wasn't for the Iron Man post-credit scene, that's something that
The
now we
Nick Fury one, you mean? The end credit, right? He does the end credit,
that from every Marvel movie now and every comic.
It's
book
spread.
movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like DC was like they went out of their way. Didn't they go out of their way not to do one? And they were like, well, we don't have to fucking do it every time that we have a fucking movie. Now all of a sudden we got to do fucking end credits.
I forget which one I saw. It might have been Logan. I don't think had an end credit.
Yes, Logan. That was the movie they went out of their way. No, DC also made a fit about it, but no, Logan definitely went out of their way. They're like, we don't always have to do a fucking end credit. Yada yada yada.
And it's true. You don't have to. I don't think it's necessary. But like for Marvel now, I expect it. Even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which doesn't, they're not tied really to the MCU. They do their best to kind of bridge off of whatever the theme of the movies
They keep
are.
saying they're not, but they tease shit all the time. They use movie footage. They keep giving us the impression like it all counts.
Well, I think that's what makes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. special, but you never hear references.
The Netflix shows do it the same thing. They're not tied, but the incident in New York changed this. So I don't even know what to believe in that as far as that shit goes anymore.
Yeah, they're absolutely influenced by the MCU, even if they're not necessarily attached to it. But even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the reason why I brought them up, once their episode is over, they also have like a closing scene.
Right, yeah, some sort of tease to the next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of the end credit scene, Jon Favreau is incredibly influential, but Robert Downey Jr. has had the whole, he's been there, he's been present, even when Jon Favreau wasn't.
But for the most part, they have been tied together for most of this, even through the cameos. I'll take you to Spider-Man: Homecoming. When the two of them were a part of that, Sony came in, they made the deal, and I think they were part of that agreement where they were going to get at least Robert. Robert wouldn't do it without John because they were trying to keep him a part of the whole process. I mean, this is where I lose people. So I'll put it like this in the analogy: Robert Downey Jr., Tom Brady, Jon Favreau, Belichick. It's like that coach-quarterback combination. It's the Tim Burton, Johnny Depp factor, where it's just like these two together are just money.
I agree, but I saw an interview. I was going to say a conversation. I saw an interview.
Interview's a conversation. You're all right. Not too far off base.
I'm forgetting dude's name right now. He's one of the Chris's. Not Pine. Pratt. There we go. Chris Pratt.
So many Chris's in the MCU.
So many Chris's, man.
Was Pratt?
Star-Lord.
Uh-huh.
Just having a conversation and talking about Robert's influence and how, like, the moment he found out he was cast, the moment that it was announced, a lot of people find out via Twitter that they were cast. They don't even, they find out the same time we are. But Robert called Chris up and said, hey, welcome to the family. It could be kind of weird. This gets kind of big. If you have any questions, need any help, need advice, if it gets overwhelming, give me a call. And that's the kind of mentor relationship Robert Downey Jr. has had, not just on screen, off screen, even when it's not his movie.
Yeah.
And
I don't mean to downplay what he's done.
But I really like and respect what you said about Jon Favreau, but I feel like the title of Godfather for RDJ is more than just for the role he played on screen, but
I think he embraces it, though. I think he looks at himself and he says, yeah, I got to look after these guys.
Yo, between him and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine,
yeah.
I have so much respect for both of them because, some people, like Michael Keaton, I don't think he personifies Batman. I don't think he has a whole resume that he can look to and say, I'm an actor and I've done good work.
He's Mr. Mom.
And
what?
Multiplicity is great.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I hear he signed on for that new Beetlejuice.
But I don't think he looks at himself and says, like, I'm Batman.
No.
But
See,
Hugh Jackman welcomes the fact that he's Wolverine. Like, and even if this is the last Wolverine movie he ever does, the Logan, and there's no more.
Well, he said he'd come back if they were to blend X-Men and Avengers, which very well could happen on the next film now.
I don't know what he's going to do. He says one thing, he says another thing, and.
Well, that was a great. Listen, you just brought up two very interesting people that we should be talking about. Michael Keaton came from the old guard, and the old guard of acting. You never wanted to be quote unquote typecasted.
Yes.
A lot of people stayed away from sequels back then because you didn't want to be known to be that one guy all the time. Right. The MCU has pretty much rewritten all of that because these guys have been the same fucking guy for the last decade. They have come back for every fucking thing that they've ever been asked to do. Cameos, commercials, media tour, the biggest films that without Infinity War coming out this Friday. The MCU movies already are the highest grossing franchising films of all time. Yeah. And I'm sure they're all getting paid very handsomely for it. But
they've influenced all the other studios because now there's a Star Wars universe. There's talk of a Hasbro universe.
DC's having that problem now because they're trying to keep their characters and actors the same. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Ben Affleck's been having some sort of contractual problems with them trying to keep to the whole Batman deal. So DC is trying to follow in a very similar footsteps. Jason Momoa's going to still be Aquaman in his own individual film, so it's kind of happening both ways. If we want to really get into the changing of it, then let's start with a different topic that I wanted to bring up because I just DC and Marvel. This is a question I desperately wanted to ask you because I think we should really go back and forth on this.
Cool.
Because we were just making the joke before we went on air that I have a lot of fun with my friend Jose Rivera, who's a long-time listener to the show. I'm sure he's listening to this one. Alex Polgreen, another friend of mine who I constantly bicker about back and forth. I've literally shared booze in a public place while shouting about this at the bar. It's the big question because in the beginning of time, it was never really an issue. It became an issue somewhere in the 80s and 90s, and now it's kind of not anymore. DC versus Marvel. It's the area. It's the area that all comic book fans at some point come to. And I'm not going to ask you to pick a side. That's not what this conversation's about. Cool. The conversation is going to be: is there a point in having the conversation or the argument anymore? Because I think now we live in an era where it's kind of blended. There aren't too many people. See, I'm old school. I'm an older guy. So when I was coming up, it was like Prince and Michael, Pepsi and Cola. You had to pick a side. Mets, Yankees, you had to pick a side. And I was always a Marvel guy. But I'm realizing now, we're living in a world now where those lines are very, very blurred. I think people are Spider-Man and Batman fans. They're Hulk and they're Superman fans. Like, it's hard now, I think, for people to be like, yeah, I stick to the one brand. I don't even bother with the other fucking brand. Like, it doesn't happen anymore.
Okay.
Do you believe that that's something that should we even be having this conversation anymore? Isn't it even an argument at this point?
I don't mind the conversation because I feel like there's always going to be something like that. To me, the Marvel versus DC is like asking Nintendo versus Genesis.
No, but we used to have those conversations though. Knockdown, drag outs at the school playground, baby.
I feel like it's cool to have something you identify with. And defend it strongly and have feelings about it. I personally grew up with Marvel Comics, so
me too.
It's tough for me to ask, and I thank you for asking me not to pick a side. Like, that's not the question.
Because that's the point of what we're talking about. But should we even be picking sides at this point?
I don't think we should actually be picking sides, but I don't see anything wrong with having a brand that you like and maybe feeling it's better. I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with that. having your brand and holding it down, go ahead and do
No,
that. And
rep
be
it.
proud. And be proud when your brand, the thing that you came up with, does well. Just don't take it too seriously.
Right, which is
That's my-
well, we're gonna go to next because we mentioned one of our mutual friends, Jose.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him privately about this, and he mentioned that's the one part about the argument he dislikes, because for the people who do pick sides, it seems like they pick their side, which is fine. We have no problem with picking the
Right.
side, but then there's this venom, no pun intended, that they spit at the other side, where it's like, oh, DC can't get their shit together. DC fans are fucking retarded. Why would they even watch these fucking movies? Look at because everyone concedes that Marvel has the better movies, and then they say, but DC has the better animated movies and the better shows, and
That's the weird.
they start like it's no longer an argument. Now it just becomes a full-on war. It's just like, the other side's stupid.
That's the weird thing about the movies, though. The movies kind of changed the nature of the conversation. Because I feel like before that,
Marvel was getting drubbed. He was getting his ass beat by DC.
Yeah. Like for me, it was always, if it's comics, then I'm reading Marvel.
Right.
But cartoons, Batman the Animated Series,
It's tops,
Justice
yeah.
League Unlimited, like
I'm a Marvel guy, and the Batman
Like-
animated series is still one of the best shows that I've ever seen.
yeah, and then when it came to games, for a long while, not that Marvel had like the greatest games, but you had Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 and
Dude, Spider-Man Fox Kids, X-Men on Fox, man, I was digging all that
no,
shit.
but I
yeah.
mean like even in the games, like no matter which way you were, there was
Yeah.
an argument going on, and it was like, oh, DC can't get any good games. Then Batman Arkham Asylum came out, DC Universe Online came out, and
Yeah, because the Marvel games are pretty good. Spider-Man
the
Maximum
Marvel
Carnage.
games were good, but
Yeah.
Batman. But then when Batman Arkham Asylum came out, it changed.
The pendulum swung heavy to the other side.
Like and now we would judge things. Like you don't see a lot of made for the video game movies for Marvel. And I remember there being a made for the video game, made for the movie, like Captain America had a video game that came around the time of the movie. And it seemed very influenced by Batman Arkham Asylum, like control-wise, but it lacked a lot of the, just the in-depth gameplay that you would look for in Batman Arkham Asylum. So it's, no matter what, there's going to be that argument, and that's cool, but don't take it too seriously, because while I grew up a Marvel fan, a lot of my favorite books, like all time, are probably DC. Like one of my favorite books ever is Lex Luthor, Man of Steel. It comes from the point of view of Lex Luthor as the villain, and he creates this. He creates a superhero. It's an android named Hope, and it's just to steal the limelight from Superman. But he really believes, that's the thing. If you just see him as some Superman foil, then you're not seeing the depth of Lex Luthor. He sees Superman as a threat, because
Right.
one, he's not a man. And Lex Luthor just wants to create the best of, he always wants to reach for the next level for mankind. And he sees Superman as a threat. And there was one line in particular that he said in that comic that I really loved. And it was, when Superman flies above Metropolis and looks at all the wonders that were built, does he see those things, or does he just look down on us? And I was like, what? And I was like,
so deep.
and I love that, because yes, Lex Luthor does things, he commits actions that do not have the maybe the best moral code, but he does it because he sincerely believes that Superman is a threat that we should be worried about.
I think Ben Affleck used that line in the Batman vs Superman movie, didn't he? Even if there's a 1% chance that he could turn bad, or whether that we have to take it as an absolute certainty and we need to be prepared. And it's a very similar theme that they used in the movie. We were just watching Kill Bill the other day. It just happened to be on TV, Volume 2, of course. The scene with Bill
of course.
at the end when he gives the Superman quote. or the Superman analogy. I don't know if you remember that. When he says like that Superman is Superman all the time. When he wakes up, he's Superman. When he goes to sleep, he's Superman. Clark Kent is the alter ego. Clark Kent is the costume, and Clark Kent uses that costume to blend in with the rest of us. And what is Clark Kent? He's scared all the time. He's frantic. He's weak. That's Superman's interpretation of what humanity is. That's how he sees us.
Yes.
So maybe that fits into what you're saying now about the way that Lex Luger,
Back to wrestling
snuck in again, you sly son bitch. Get out of here, wrestling. Lex Luthor was trying to explain about his point of view as to Superman.
Yeah, and it's something that I think is lovely. I also think that DC... not spin-offs, but I think they brand well, they off-brand well. I mean, like with Marvel, like, you know, there's the Marvel Max titles and the Marvel Knights titles, and I don't even think they use any of those other brands anymore. But for a long while, DC's had like Vertigo or Wildstorm, and like I think my favorite comic story of all time is The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and I call that the Bible of comic books. Like,
why is that?
Just the way that, and it could be the way that I bought it, because like this is an older book. Like this was probably came out in the 80s, and I bought it
at an old Chinese shop next to Gizmo.
No. This is like a classic, like famous, like book. Like it's gonna be done, I believe.
It was in a secret chamber behind like some Chinatown.
No, man, no. They've got hardcovers of this, and I bought like the.
You can Amazon this.
Yeah. This is like I got like an oversized deluxe hardcore version, and it looks like a Bible. It's this big. I've got like this big, like maybe I don't know if it's leather covered, but it's like
pleather.
And it stars the King of Dreams, who goes by many names. Some call him Morpheus, Orpheus. He does have a run-in with Martian Manhunter and Batman at some point. Very brief. It's because it's not a superhero.
Because who doesn't run into Batman at some point?
I gotta believe that it was there just to help sell the book at the time it came out, because Vertigo is tied to DC. But It's this gritty book that's, you know, with, you know, curses and sex, but great imagination and ties to William Shakespeare and Greek mythology, and they venture to hell on Fox, the show Lucifer. Yeah. Lucifer was born out of the Sandman comic, so Sandman is incredibly influential. Constantine, born out of the Sandman comic, like. Well, it's incredibly influential, and I just feel like it really changed the idea of what a comic book could be, and that's technically a DC imprint. So even as a Marvel guy,
I have never heard of this, so I hope everyone listening to the show right now, get to the Google machine, folks. YouTube this shit up or something. Find out more about this book, because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, read anything by Neil Gaiman, really. You know,
Neil Gaiman, you said?
Neil Gaiman.
Gaiman. I thought you meant like the singer.
No,
like
not Neil Gaiman.
I'm like, he is talented. This guy's writing books and hit songs at the same time.
The TV show, what's American Gods?
Okay, yeah.
Based on a novel, Neil Gaiman wrote that.
Oh, we love that show. This House of O here.
On the Marvel side, if you like the story 1602, which takes place if the Marvel universe started much earlier, that's a Neil
possibly
Gaiman
around 1602.
Yeah. That's a Neil Gaiman book. I'm a big fan of anything Neil Gaiman does.
Absolutely. Listen, this is the first time I'm hearing about his name, so I'm definitely going to be looking all this stuff up.
The show that his stuff.
I know, exactly.
So yeah, check it out.
So if I'm digging that show, there's got to be some other stuff. I'm sure.
This dude is a freak. I love him.
We're gonna go off the wall here a little bit, because obviously we've been talking very heavily about DC and Marvel, and why not? They're two of the biggest companies in the world. But I wanted to ask you a question, because I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm sure this isn't going to be new ground for you, but it's new ground for the show. So I want people to kind of get all encompassing here. We're trying to get all up ins and all this stuff. With all the stuff that we're familiar with, you and I, it's usually Americanized stuff. It's the stuff that happens here. But there's another genre that's very huge, okay?
Okay.
And sometimes it doesn't get the love that I think people really think it should get, especially here in the States. Anime is big when it comes to the cartoons. I know that there's also comic book versions of these shows that go out, and I don't know if they miss. I mean, now we're digging into the hardcore stuff, like for the hardcore fan. This isn't the stuff that Jack and Jill over here, who watched Black Panther for the first time yesterday, is really going to download or buy at the local shop, if you will. What are your thoughts on the fact that should anime be included in these conversations when we start talking about the DCs, the Marvels, the heavyweights here in the States? Do you include those books in this realm as well?
I'm not sure if I include them in the same realm.
They're just their own separate deal going on over there.
Like it's
a difficult thing to think about. Yeah, it was messing with me the other day.
It's a different realm because all right, so my sisters are anime fans.
Okay.
You know, they collected the Shonen Jump magazine. They're reading the mangas before they're ever animated, you know, and that's not all the time because now there's so many shows like Netflix, Hulu, wow, I forgot the friggin' site.
No, Amazon has
Crunchyroll.
What the fuck?
Yeah. There's so many venues and ways.
I was gonna say Amazon Prime or something like that. Yeah, Crunchyroll.
Well, Amazon
Crackle.
Prime, absolutely. Does Crackle have any? I don't know. I don't use.
No, I was saying, are you actually talking about a place called Crunchyroll or
is a website? I believe they probably.
I'm
have
using
an
right
app
now as we speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, anime is here's the thing. It's not the same as comic books because my sisters don't give a shit about comic books, but they do give a shit about anime and manga and Shonen Jump, but they, at the same time, when I was trying to bond with my sisters or just get them out of the
straight
house,
up watch anime on Crunchyroll. This is a real fucking thing.
Yeah, man. I ain't bullshitting you. This
guy's an expert.
I would take them, and I'm not even an expert.
At least not on Crunchyroll, I'm sure.
Well, I don't go there. I just know it exists.
Helmet in 2006. I have been missing out.
But I would take my sisters to Midtown Comics.
Right.
On 40th between 7th and 8th.
The big one,
that matters to any of the people listening outside of New York.
Hey, I got people in Ghana and Germany, baby.
Ghana. My brothers and sisters in Ghana.
My brothers in Ghana. Thank you for downloading the show.
But
that sounded Russian. I'm sorry. I gotta work on my Ghana. Yeah, I know. I gotta work on my Guyanese.
Yeah, they all tuned out.
I have actual Ghanaian friends. I can bring them on the show if it'll make you guys happy. I'll bring the equipment over and we'll talk about it.
But I would take my sisters with me to Midtown Comics, right. And they're in the comic shop. There is a section for anime. So yeah, they're in the same family, but they're like a cousin.
No, I was having difficulty with this the other day when I was trying to come up with different topics for the show. I didn't even come up with that. Somebody else came up with that, and they were just like, "Well, how do you feel about anime?" And I'm like, you know what? That's a real fucking great question. Because my thoughts about anime, because I'm so unfamiliar with it, anime. When I hear anime, I think of the shows. I don't really think of books. And then someone brought it to my attention, well, a lot of those shows come from books. Yeah. So I was like, oh, shit. I said, okay. So I started looking into it, and I was like, that's a really good question, because I'm not really sure.
There's so much good anime out there, and if it wasn't for these books, we wouldn't have
I learned recently that there's a difference between hentai and everything else as well.
Oh, yeah, hentai.
Hentai is a little different. I actually thought it was all the same shit. Anime, manga, and hentai, I thought were the old shit. They're not the same thing, folks. No. Google them individually, and you will find different results for each.
I'm not going to act like I don't know what hentai is and that I didn't enjoy watching it.
I didn't, but sir, I do now. And that's the point.
Oh, man.
So after I finish the hentai stuff, I will move on to Crunchyroll, which is right here, crunchyroll.com. This is a real thing.
It's also important to know this stuff, though. It's weird to say, like, even if you're not a fan, even if you don't give a shit. Let's say, all right, so you're a parent.
Right.
You know, I know Little O is out there carrying his Joker toys. I saw the advertisement. Yes. For a comic book week. Mm-hmm. But
there it is. I don't have to edit it anymore. Now we're doing it vocally now.
Yeah,
so that works.
But we've got. I remember taking my sisters. As I said, I try to bond with them, take them places, and I took them to a Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, and at the Javits Center, and we were just walking. And there's this dude, he's a vendor, and he's yelling, "Yowie, yowie, we got yowie," whatever. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking, and yaoi is the gay porn version of hentai.
Oh my god.
Some of it.
So hentai is straight porn version.
I haven't delved
because there's octopi
I haven't
here.
delved into enough to say, but I do think it is there to appeal to heterosexual male
Okay.
audiences.
So yaoi
Yaoi
is the gay porn.
YAOI?
For Google purposes, for those of you out there who are hearing this, for science purposes, you should check this out.
And I'm not sure how much of it.
We advocate gay
It's
porn
like-
hentai here on Orsini's Uncensored Mind.
I'm not sure how much of it is official, because some of this might be like independent, like fan service. So
Right.
if you watch, let's
Like
say,
fanfic, almost like.
almost, because
Yeah.
if you watch, let's say you watch an anime like Black Butler, which I did enjoy.
Racist, but go ahead.
No black people.
There's no even more racist.
No,
It's even more racist.
Indian.
Worse.
There's Indian.
Oh, super racist then. What the hell?
man?
I don't know. Adding an Indian in there really fucks things up. How do you have? Wait, it's called Black Butler.
It's called Black Butler.
with no black people.
It's because the butler himself is a demon from hell.
Oh,
so black, we're not talking about African American.
So they're putting black on the same level with
about-
demon from hell. Okay,
Yes,
just so we're
yes.
clear. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yes, like black magic, dark magic, etc.
All right.
Racist.
Racist. The overtones are strong in that. But all right, yeah.
But it also takes place in, I want to say, like a Victorian England kind of time, and of course England.
That's when all the goofy demon shit happens over there, right? So, I love to. I say it all the time. But one place I would love to visit is London. I hear great things about London all the time. But every time I look into this folklore shit, all the bad shit goes down in London.
Yes, all the cool magic and monsters.
Werewolves and the whatnot, and the vampires and shit.
I'm sure there's great stuff in other regions too, but England was so great at colonialism that they erased our pages.
Colonize us.
Yeah. No, but because it's Victorian England and England did colonize India, there was
They did.
Indian characters. in
Lots of
Black Butler.
colonizing back in the day.
Lots of colonizing. That was the thing to
Lots.
do.
It was the it thing. It was hot. It was trending.
But if you watch that show, it does feel like there are some homoerotic themes, but there's no actual, gay sex going on. However, if you pick up the Black Butler, like yaoi independent comic,
There's just so much anal in it.
Sebastian is getting his in. Yeah,
Sebastian.
Sebastian and Grell
Why
are
did I-
probably gonna.
Not for nothing, but we have a mutual friend named Sebastian. I have always felt like Sebastian, the name, was just the maybe because the Little Mermaid fucked me up. Because the Little Mermaid, like Sebastian, had a very gay overtone that he was very flamboyant for a crab of that region. I'm just gonna say, I don't know. Sebastian always felt like a gay name to me. Like,
I don't know.
It was a very fabulous.
I got
name.
more nerdy name, which takes us back to the nerd conversation.
Okay, what's the?
No. I just felt Sebastian was kind of like nerdy, like it's like Sebastian. I don't know. Just
We have a mutual gay friend whose name was Clarence. Fuck the whole Clarence name up. I said I never really met a gay Clarence before, but there you go. That's how it works out. So we've dabbled a bit, a lot of different things here, a lot of different topics. We're going to continue on with this comic theme. And you had mentioned something already that I'm going to jump on. We're going to go into that direction because you are a veteran of the Comic-Con wars, as people like to refer to it now. It has gone, Comic-Con has gone from the niche event that would be word of mouth, flyers on car windows, a few things online. They used to advertise Comic-Con on like Angel Fire, like there's going that far back, like a GeoCities accounts for fucking Comic-Con. Comic-Con was the place where they would almost beg fans to come to because it was supposed to be like this haven for the hardcore. Now Comic-Con is littered with the Paris Hiltons of the world and the Kim Kardashians, and it's red carpet affair now. Hall H is the place of gods and legends where they all come and meet with the folk who's been outside sitting in the streets for the last 48 hours waiting to get in. It's a big event, and that's just the San Diego side, which I don't know. You've never been to this.
I've never been to San Diego.
But the New York one I hear is just as big here in the Javits Center. They're
arguably bigger. I would say
based on the venue, I've heard that it is. Yeah,
like San Diego, their space might be bigger. I'm not sure, but like
I've heard the opposite. I've heard the Javits is actually a little bigger.
I'm not sure. I'm not certain. All I know is that we pack them in New York City Comic Con.
Yeah, so it went from an event that not a whole lot of people went to now it seems like an overfill. Like you have to buy your passes 2 years in advance for 4-day events,
That's just impossible.
They already foresee a sellout going on. But no, it's full to the brim.
Right.
It's packed. It's the who's who. It's anybody and everybody who can get a fucking ticket.
Yeah.
It's whenever it's in town for whatever town, because it's not just San Diego and New York. From what I understand, they tour. They hit all the big cities.
So there's one big company. I'm right now, for the life of me, I've been drinking. I can't remember the name of the actual company that puts out these conventions. And there's multiple companies that do these conventions. But the two biggest ones are the San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. But there's also WizardCon, which I believe is in Philadelphia. I'm not sure if it's called DragonCon. I haven't been there, but that's in like Florida. A different company altogether does the New York Fan Fest, and I think they have two, like one in winter and one in spring.
Yeah, because Comic-Con spawned off little imitations.
Yeah, there's
we
a
have,
lot of, and honestly,
we have Big Apple Comic-Con here in New York
and Big
now.
Apple Comic Con, I believe, could be wrong. The Big Apple Comic Book Convention has been around longer than the actual term Comic Con was around.
Right. Yeah.
Like, even before NYCC, I'm quite sure Big Apple Comic Book Convention.
Well, most of the movie companies that are making these big things are over in California, so it makes sense that San Diego would become the biggest because it has the easiest access to all this other
Right.
shit going on over there. Yeah.
Well, see, here's the funny thing. I don't know how accurate this is. I don't dig into statistics. That's not my thing. There's a YouTube channel, the Game Theorist channel, featuring Matt Pat, who I would love to meet. I would love to meet Matt.
Shout out. I don't know what channel he's talking about, but if he's pitching it, it's
you would
good.
love this channel
Yeah.
so much. But they did an episode about Comic-Con itself and what's how'd it get so big. Really was basically the premise of it.
Right.
And I think by the end of it, basically blamed the Twilight movies. Because
The Twilight movies.
because it used to be easy to get into Comic-Con, man.
I heard.
And then here's the thing: you've got these. So there's the show floor, and then there's the panels. That's really the two things that you go there to see, unless you're there to watch people who are cosplayers. You might have your own reasons for going but really it's the show floor and
Right.
the panels. And the panels used to be, that's where the hardcore fans would go, and it's pretty empty. You go to the show floor to check out things to buy, maybe get your Keyblade if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, from the weapon shop, some costume stuff, some deals on comics, some toys. But that was it. And at the panels you would have, I don't know, some hints of things to come. So maybe you would have guys from like video game companies going and talking about upcoming games that they have planned and whatever. And it's not just big names. There's also smaller guys really just trying to make a business for themselves. I went to a panel once that was about, I think it was from a woman who had her own a voice acting company, and she was advertising her company,
Right.
and that they do classes for voice acting. So you have all these different things that these panels are for. And when Twilight came out, they had a panel at the San Diego Comic-Con, and Twilight is a major, it was a big time.
It was huge. Yeah.
Huge. I don't think it should ever be forgetting how huge that was. Forgotten. And
That's all right. We don't abide by traditional English standards here on the show.
But it was a big deal, and all of the Twilight fans, I don't know if they have a term, but they showed up to Comic-Con, and the rule was if the big stage was like Hall H.
That's where everyone goes now, right? Hall H, right? Yeah.
And if you got there early, you didn't have to leave the audience. You could stay as long as you like, and you didn't have to clear the room. So these Twilight fans would sit through.
They're called Twihards.
That's really.
Yeah, I just googled it right now while you were talking. It's called Twihards. The fans are known as Twilighters or Fanpires.
Twilighters, I've heard.
Yeah, or Fanpires.
Wow.
While the especially dedicated, this is the creme de la creme, are fans called Twihards, and the mature women, because apparently there's a big mature women fan base, are Twi-moms.
Nice.
I'm clipping this out for YouTube, by the way. I want everyone to know the names of these Twilight fans. Because if there's that many fucking people liking Twilight, they need to start listening to this show. So, yeah.
But like, you never had to leave the
It's like the the 70s when you bought a movie ticket, and if you didn't leave, nobody kicked you out, so you just watched it again.
Yeah, so if they would show up early and they'd sit for these panels that might not be even what they were interested in. They might have been sitting for TV show panels that were out at the time that the first Twilight movie came out.
Right.
Or they might have been there they were there the whole day until the Twilight panel showed up. And so that
Well, the casuals came.
It definitely influenced more casual fans who previously did not go to comic book conventions and still don't go to comic book conventions. Cause
Probably haven't gone since, right.
Because the Big Apple Comic Con ain't pulling what,
Comic Con,
yeah,
quote
they're
unquote,
not
does,
pulling, yeah. No, they're not. They're not pulling those.
They don't pull.
So there's still a niche. That's the funny thing. There's still a niche audience. People are there for the big ones. And these movies, starting with Twilight, these movies showing up and having the actors appear, and that's really what pulled everybody in.
No, but now it's to a ridiculous degree because there's people who sat outside 48, we're talking about 48, 72 hours, and there's so many people that you could be out there for 48, 72 hours and still not get in because it's packed to capacity.
It's pointless. If there's
I'm referring just to the Hall H stuff, Star Wars, Star Wars, Avengers, when they did Batman vs. Superman, all of the big ones in Hall H, when these people are outside for hours and hours, and some of them still don't get in. And I've seen YouTube videos of the people who don't get in, and they didn't care. They were still excited because they still got to see there's a screen or whatever on the outside.
There was to sneak in.
Yeah, there was. You
gotta be good. You gotta be crafty.
But these people, but then the producers and these people who make the movies at Hall H, and then it's worth it to get in because you meet all the stars, you hear all the stories, you're there for the panel, so it's about an hour, 90 minutes. They get free shit. How many times do these guys get free shit? Oh, you guys get the poster, and you get this, and you get that, and then the Star Wars, when they took them all out to a free concert for the John Williams concert and all that shit. I mean, it's like a fucking experience now. It's like it's not like a comic book fan who goes to the convention and, like you said, hits the floor, is immersed in the this is gonna be the catchphrase of the night, but the nerdverse, just with comic fans and discussing and arguing and being sort of a haven. Now it's okay, you're here. They literally treat you like a god when you come in. And it's like, here's some more free shit, and here's Hugh Jackman on his day off shaking your hand, and you're gonna get jerked off by Black Widow or something.
Fantasy. That's the fantasy.
No, but I've seen it. Like, if you go on YouTube, it's like fans who leave Hall H just fucking bawling and crying from a trailer because they get the trailers first.
My favorite panel experience. I remember going to Justice League Unlimited panel. This was probably like 2 years ago, possibly 3 years ago. I don't remember. And most of the actors from Justice League Unlimited were there. Kevin Conroy, the voice actor who plays Batman.
Awesome voice.
He and arguably
is he the best Batman?
The best Batman.
Yeah, he's the best Batman. He's done it. He's like the Undertaker. He's done it the longest, right? Yeah,
the best.
Yeah, his voice has been so consistent for 20 years.
Yeah, and he's never had to do a kung fu move once while he was there.
All he does is talk serious as hell.
But you know what? That's a whole nother argument. Finishing this story, but
yes.
Kevin
For the record, we haven't segued that terribly during the course of this podcast.
We stuck on Comic-Con, and damn it, we're doing well.
I'm telling you, I'm a great host. I'm a great host.
Here's the thing, though. You and me talking, this could be a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah, by the way, for those of you, because there's no video, he is currently sock and shoeless on my couch, leaned over the arm. He is comfortable. You've been nursing, by the way. I don't even know how much of a drink you
I
had.
have been nursing. But before I got here, I had 2 margaritas.
Oh, okay.
It is, I hate to advertise, but Applebee's has their $1 margarita.
Oh, no, she's huge. We've had them. Which one did you go with, Kiwi?
I just went with straight up margarita.
Oh, okay, all right.
That bitter ass taste. I did get a Mongo, the second one.
Well, there we go.
But and I hate Applebee's. But you know what? You're gonna get me drunk for $2.
Applebee's is fine.
You know.
There's nothing wrong with fucking Applebee's.
There's nothing wrong with them. There's just things better than them.
I'm completing what I am referring to. I'm completing what I am referring to as the star effect. And the reason why I'm calling it the star effect because I literally just came up with it right now because of my drunkenness.
Nice.
What it is we've been starting in the middle and I've been taking you into these weird points. And this looks like a star. So the final star leg here is I have another direction that's very random that I want to take you in.
I need to finish the story before we go in that direction.
Okay, wait, yeah, because we split it off.
Kevin
Go ahead.
Conroy was there, and there's this one episode of Justice League Unlimited where Wonder Woman turns into a pig. And Batman is trying to save her from the magician / maybe goddess. I think it was Cersei. I could be wrong. It might be Cersei, who turned her into a pig. And it's not like he can fight a god. So all that needed to be done was, how do I get her to, transform? What do I got to do for you to turn her back into Wonder Woman instead of a pig? And he agrees to do something that, he's never done in public that would, if people found out about it, would change the way they think of Batman. And he's in this like jazz lounge and he sings, I think it's a Ella Fitzgerald song. But he goes, "Are you blue?" And they're at the comic book panel at this convention. Kevin Conroy starts singing the song, and it was beautiful.
You got so wrecked.
Oh man, I threw my panties at him.
There you go.
It was
I knew it was a good choice to buy these before the damn show, and you just tossed them a fresh pair of panties on stage.
I don't think another panel can like really equal that. Maybe some
Venture
Brothers Adult Swim panel, but
oh man, I would kill to go to a fucking Adult Swim. You have? Oh Jesus, they're great.
I'd do it again.
I want to go to, and it's not your usual Comic-Con, but the Rooster Tooth one. I would love to go to one of them. I don't think have they had one on the East Coast? I'm not even sure.
I didn't even know they have their own convention.
Yeah, they have their own convention with all the shit. Red versus Blue, fucking Ruby, just their shorts, all that shit. Actually, the one I would have killed for just happened recently. I don't know how much of them you follow, but the team, the original team that started all this was like these 5 guys, like a group of friends, and they haven't seen each other in one area in forever because they're doing all these big things. The company itself is $1 million company now. It went from a system of like 4 or 5 Xboxes drunken in some guy's house, and now it's like $1 million industry. And they just did a panel recently all together for the first time in fucking years. And I know, they've been doing an amazing job.
It's good to be a nerd. Do what you love, people.
Do what you love. So I'm going to finish my star now.
All right, you can have your star.
You saw how I just repeated that? All right, so I'm going to finish my star now. The last point here. I'm going to take you off and veer you into a different direction. Much like the anime question, there was another question that I recently got from a buddy that it actually raised up. I wish I had his name out, but he doesn't listen to the show. So fuck him. But he brought up a very good point. He even though I'm sure he doesn't listen to previous episodes, he said he would listen to this one if I asked this one question.
He better.
I don't know how invested he is because I am asking his question an hour and 6 minutes in. But I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to tell him that I read the question.
No, that's good. That's good. I saved your question for nearly the last, or maybe the last. So that's
probably
how you get him
not.
to listen to the whole damn thing.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to tell him. Yeah, I asked it. But you don't know when I asked it. So the question is because this person is also very new to comics, but he has a sibling who's huge into it. Okay. And apparently he got cursed out because he said something that was weird.
but he friendly. It's a brotherly cursed out, right?
Okay, cool.
But he wanted me to ask on the show because he got corrected on this. He feels that the people listening to the show who don't know much about comic books should learn the difference, right? And the topic is graphic novels.
Okay.
There is apparently a difference between comics and graphic novels.
I don't give a shit.
Right, you don't give a shit, but would you be able to explain what that difference really is between the comic and the graphic novel?
I'm not sure. To the people who do care, I hope I'm explaining this correctly.
Yeah, just do your best. Doesn't matter.
Comic books are released on a weekly basis. If you buy Spider-Man, you buy that comic, you're not getting that issue, the next issue for another month.
Right.
And then comic books themselves, in general, like if you're more than just a Spider-Man fan, there might be something else you like. It comes out next week. These major storylines, whether you're a DC fan, Marvel fan, Image fan, you know, they're released in like these segments. There's almost like a pattern that it follows, and eventually they're collected in graphic novel form. But you would not call them graphic novels.
More of a collection at that point.
Books.
Yeah, right, yeah. Is there a difference in content? Are you allowed to do something in a graphic novel that you really can't do in comics?
I say that if you do a whole graphic novel at once, there is you probably have the freedom to tell your story as you like, at the pace that you like, however you feel as the creator. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference, but a very slight difference. It's not a major difference. But I think if you're able to tell your story all at once, because that's really the difference. A graphic novel is a whole completed story.
Right.
If I'm correct, I don't know if things have changed.
From my experience, that's what I was hoping to hear, because that's what I told the buddy. I was like, because he got yelled at because his brother feels that the content's different. That for him it's a better read for the graphic novel than the comic book.
I agree.
But I think it goes to what you just said, is like the comic book, we're telling the same story, but in comic books we split it up into these 10 or 11 different pieces as opposed to just the one fat book in front of you.
The difference, though, is it's not just, there are the collections, but it's not just that. There are some, you won't really see it too much from like a Marvel or a DC. Not that it doesn't happen at all, but you're not really going to see it from them. But like a Dark Horse or a Boom Studios or Dynamite Entertainment, they might put out something that's not a collection of multiple stories, but a whole story at once, graphic novel.
Right.
I think that's really good for the author to be able to tell their story. Because of the success of the graphic novel medium, I want to say, now there's kind of a push in like a Marvel or DC to, whatever their story arcs are, let's try to make it like a 6-issue story arc, so we can collect it in graphic novel, so it can be sold to that graphic novel audience
in volumes, where it's just like, okay,
because it's easier. You know, like,
if we get the fancy case and the box and it's all the,
if your story takes, let's say, 7 issues to tell, then it just makes things a little more difficult for the company that's trying to sell their issues. So maybe they might do 4 issues or 6 issues, or if it's a long 12-issue series, you might get a volume 1 and a volume 2. Because it's not like Spider-Man ever ends, Amazing Superman's at 1,000 right now, so it's not like it ever
That's it?
ends.
Only 1,000? I mean, he's only been around for like a bajillion years.
He's the first to do it, so thank you for being here since 1930-something. I don't know. I'm going to get hated on for not knowing the exact
I think it was 1937, because I think that was the joke in the movie.
Yeah.
Like 36 or 37, one of those years. But yeah, it goes back a long time. As it relates to the graphic novel and the comics, if you flip-flop, does it work? And what I mean by that is if you took a Spider-Man storyline and you dropped it into graphic novel form where it's the whole story. You kind of could see it working because at least that way you get the whole story. If you took a graphic novel, the way that that's written, and chopped that bitch up into comic book form, does that still work? Does that hurt the story a little bit for the reader?
I'm not sure if you can really chop up. Maybe you can, but because if you wrote it in the form of a graphic novel, that means there's no breaks. There's no with the comic book.
There's no built-in cliffhanger.
With every comic books are episodic. It's very much like a TV show. So it's like there's a beginning, a middle, and end. Every issue of the comic.
Yeah. Even if that ends
not the same.
Yeah. Even if it ends into a tease to the next, there's still an end.
There's still an end. Graphic novel not the same. So you really can't break those up.
That's okay. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But a comic book. Here's where it becomes a little difficult. So I'm someone who likes reading a whole collected story.
It's a lot like when you do the whole splurge on Netflix.
Yes. I like having the whole story. I don't like waiting each month.
Yeah, I want my beginning and end, right?
Currently, I haven't even bought any graphic novels in a while because, like, as I've mentioned, I read more Marvel comics than any other. I do read other comics, but I read Marvel more than most. And I have Marvel Unlimited, so I don't buy either single issues or, I do it all digital when it comes to Marvel right now.
Okay.
But
most do now, apparently.
But take something like this is the tough thing for people who are comic fans. Every now and then you have a really popular comic. You have a really popular comic within a certain niche audience. Even among the Marvel and DC, there's a niche audience even amongst them. Where there's less popular comics that are critically good, like well done, but people aren't reading. A lot of time it's someone like, let's say, Moon Knight.
Right. Before the movies, Guardians of the Galaxy was in that that category.
Yeah.
Before the movies, because Guardians of the Galaxy to me was a great read, but it never really hit like a mainstream pull like the other ones. And then when they took a risk on that movie, and now it's Guardians of the Galaxy everything. Now they're a part of the Avengers now.
Yeah, it's you never know which way it's gonna go, but it's a little easier when it's a movie. I don't know. I feel like right now, because movies just always going to have a bigger audience than the comic. But there's nothing more, I guess, frustrating when you're a comic book fan and then you're really invested in something like a Moon Knight or, I don't know, Nova, someone who's not Spider-Man or the X-Men or the Avengers or Wolverine or Batman or Superman.
And then this may be a little too obscure, but I changed I was in spirit of Comic-Con week, in spirit of Comic-Con week, I had changed my my cover photo for an actual on the Orsini's Uncensored Mind page. It's an actual cover to the cover art to a Wolverine issue, Wolverine 54. I don't know if you saw, and one of the cover that I put on my cover page was Wolverine issue 54. It was the introduction of Shatterstar. It was Shatterstar versus Wolverine, and Shatterstar is getting the movie tribute this coming May 18th. He'll be making his movie debut in the Deadpool 2 movie as a member of X-Factor. I'm sorry, X-Force. He'll be a member of X-Force. But when I was a kid, long before I ever got into really comic books, I was hanging, and I'm not veering off from what you're saying. I'm adding to your point.
Yeah.
I was with one of my uncles one day when I was a kid, and we were going to the store for something. I was pitching a fit about something I can't remember. But just to shut me up, he bought me a comic book.
Yeah.
And I'd never had a comic book before. And he bought me a comic book, I think, because he just assumed boys like comic books. I don't know. There was no rhyme or reason to it. And it was that issue.
Okay.
It was issue 54 of Wolverine. And the reason why it sticks in my mind is because I loved Shatterstar. And Shatterstar, for a short time, had his own run there for a little bit of his own little comic book. And I think it fits into what you're saying, because even when you do find, like, this is the niche of the niche. There aren't too many people buying Shatterstar, okay? So here I am, the kid that you're talking about. I'm buying these Shatterstar issues because I saw that one issue, and I just fell in love with this character. The look, the eyes, the double blade, like I was all into it. And then it was just gone one day, and that was it.
And that's the tough thing, because when you're invested on, like Marvel Comics still depends on your weekly purchases. You know, they still depend on that money from the comics that come out every week. And if that comic isn't selling, they will cancel your comic. I remember it being a big, like social media little, you know, because there's always a little anger for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But Marvel was doing like their all new Marvel promotion, and a lot of their recent heroes who had comic books were of different races, genders, and sexual orientations, and a lot of those comics got canceled. And it looks bad on Marvel when, you know, it's like, yo, you're canceling all of these, but it's not enough to click share on Facebook. You actually have to buy these comics.
You have to buy the comics, yeah.
And if you wait for the collected version, which I'm guilty of, they're still not selling on a weekly basis.
Right.
And it becomes an issue. So it's
becomes an issue.
But
yeah.
That's one of the negatives about the graphic novel culture. It's that if you wait, that can influence the sales of the weekly, you know, it can influence the weekly sales, and, you know, your favorite comic may not even have a collected edition if it doesn't last that long.
Yeah, very, very true. We are coming up toward the end of this episode. I've had a good time.
I had a good time too.
We're not done just yet. We are coming up toward the end here, and I want to thank everybody for downloading and listening. We are close to the end, so I will drop this knowledge down now. ajoum.podbean.com. The other platforms in which you can catch this show: iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, and the TuneIn Radio app, where you can get all of your Orsini makes. Of course, I'm here to pay bills, but we're not done talking just yet. We're absolutely not done talking just yet. And I wanted to just dish all that out for those of you who are listening, because I like to keep reminding people of what's going on in the world of Orsini. So I have a few more things, but these are all rapid-fire, quick shit here.
Oh, that's hard to do. I was accused of talking too much.
We always talk too goddamn much. No, are you talking about the round table?
Oh, yeah.
No, the person who got killed as far as being chatty was Ian. Ian was the one that everyone looked at and said, okay, he needs to shut the fuck up. So that's why you're here today and not fucking Ian. And if Ian's listening, fuck you. So we have a couple of things here. These are we've been asking questions and going back and forth in conversation on things that are very diplomatic. This one will not be so these questions now will not be so diplomatic. You're going to have I didn't ask you to choose between DC and Marvel, because I think that's too all-encompassing. There's too many moving parts. But if you had to land on a single character, one character, I'm not using the word favorite, but the one character where you just that's your most enjoyable read. That's the character you identify with the most. That's the one that's your go-to guy when it comes to, okay, I want to read something. Who's that character for you? Brand be damned. It can be anybody.
Spider-Man.
I said the same thing the other day when I was asked. It was because I had a problem naming one guy, because my go-to comic is X-Men.
Right.
But when it comes to one particular character, yeah, Spider-Man was it for me too.
It's always hard to pick one when you have to do something like that.
Yeah.
For a long time, I used to say, as a child, Spider-Man. As an adult, Luke Cage. Because I feel like,
yes.
I feel like as an adult, he represents the things that you looked for in a kid. You know, he's not that he's not a superhero, but he's not wearing a costume. He's very much like you or me, a guy that just lives by good morals and wants to stand up for them. And so
happens to be bulletproof.
I relate to that. But if you have Spider-Man feature in your comic, I might pick up your comic, even if I don't normally pick up your comic. What, Spider-Man's in it? Picking it up.
It could be really great if Spider-Man's in it, which I think they hooked up onto, because for years Spider-Man was always kind of his own entity. Now he's an Avenger, he's this and he's that, he's a part of all that. It's like they input him whenever they need the sales to come up somewhere. And
yes and
just
no.
Come in.
Yes and no. Spider-Man was, you know, he did his own thing. He was never really part of a team.
Right.
But I felt like he was always the guy who'd like guest appear in something. Like like his interactions with Wolverine were always a favorite of mine. Him interacting with Punisher was fun with me. Fantastic Four, New Warriors, didn't matter.
Do you think that Spider-Man has the best rogue gallery in Marvel?
Ooh, that's tough.
Because whenever you start talking about DC, like, one of the things that Batman always gets the nod from people, but even the hardcorest of Batman, see, we don't abide by English rules here, but even the most hardcore Batman fan will admit that a part of that attraction to Batman is that rogue gallery.
Yes.
The people who Batman has to confront.
He's the best rogue gallery of all time.
Bottom, top. There's nobody that touches Batman in the rogue gallery. But when it comes to just the Marvel side, would you put Spider-Man? I mean, because his villains are pretty well known. Even the cheap ones are like really like the Rhinos of the world. Like, even those are like pretty well known villains. I think the Sinister Six alone would probably put him pretty high on the list.
I'm not really a fan of the Spider-Man Rogue Gallery.
Okay.
I never like I like them,
right?
But like I think looking at Batman kind of changed the way I judge these guys.
Well, he put the bar pretty high.
Because
he's got real villains
if
over
you just
here.
look at like the costume and the name, he's another guy with a set of cheesy villains. But when you started looking at the psychology and it was like, oh, well, Joker represents the chaos, well, Batman is order, or Two-Face is someone who is represents broken justice. You know, he was someone who was, district attorney, and now he bases everything on chance because justice could be, just a flip of a coin.
I actually think one of Batman's greatest villains was Mr. Freeze. Because Mr. Freeze's backstory just seemed so ordinary.
Well,
like the love of the wife and the original story, right. The original origin of Mr. Freeze is like, how could he possibly be a villain? Like, you almost root for him based on the story that you hear about him.
Mr. Freeze used to be just like this random schmo on the Batman 1960s Adam West show.
Right, yeah.
Like, he wasn't introduced in the comics. He was just this random, like, King Tut and the cowboy villain Shame. And,
right, Mr. Freeze.
But when the animated series gave him, like, that storyline, made him someone you related to and felt bad for, or even like a scarecrow. Batman is someone who capitalized on the fear of the criminals because they are a superstitious and cowardly lot.
Nice, well put. Yes.
That's who Batman was, and playing these enemies that play to his strength. Spider-Man has very recognizable enemies.
Yeah.
But I never really felt like they meant much. Like the Vulture doesn't mean much to me.
Well, those were lords here. I always put, like, for instance, for instance, like a Venom, who turned babyface over time, originally was one of those hated by. I always point one of my group favorite villains in Marvel history, and I really hope they do justice to this, but Carnage. When it was the Maximum Carnage storyline, still one of my favorite storylines of all time. And just the theory behind a villain like Carnage for Parker, because Parker, even though he became an adult, he wasn't a kid for very long in the storyline. But he became an adult rather fucking fast. But there was always a piece of you that always, kind of sympathized with the character because it started off as a kid. You feel like you knew this guy since he was a kid, so you kind of have this emotional investment in the character. And then he meets a guy with no rhyme, no reason, a lot like Joker in some similarities, but way more vicious. And he just wants to kill. He just wants to destroy. He's never faced a conundrum like that before, and that's why I was like, his rogue gallery to me is identifiable. They're not on the scale, say, of like a Batman or maybe even a Superman when you think about it, as far as like a scale of just top villains. But to me, like, even not just the Witcher, but his higher caliber villains were always like some of my favorite villains of all time.
I've got to give you props though, because you may have been the first to really vocalize why you really like Carnage without sounding like an idiot. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy Maximum Carnage. Everyone enjoyed Maximum Carnage at the time, and if you didn't, you were in the minority.
To me, that was the introduction. As time has gone on, he's gotten even more like sadistic. There was I forgot which storyline it was, the one when they went into his head. there was a storyline where they actually got into Carnage's mind to see how it works, and there's like hanging Spider-Mans everywhere, and he's like, all he thinks about, that was the whole point of the comic, all he thinks about, the only thing he thinks about is different ways, variations to kill. That's it. He gets off on just killing. That's it. He's got no other purpose than that. And that to me is like, that's a crazy, like you can have your heartfelt stories, but take a guy who just doesn't give a shit about anything else but harming you. I love that.
And I think there's a need for that sort
Every
of
now and then.
I personally don't think that he's gotten much higher than Maximum Carnage. I don't think he's had a bigger, and I don't think he ever will, but I could be wrong.
Some people, I've told that to some people before, and they always like to throw Kraven at me. Where Kraven was kind of a back and forth.
Kraven is someone who I'd love to see interpreted for the modern era, because here's a guy who no powers, lives for the hunt, doesn't even so much as hate Spider-Man, like, oh, you foiled my robbery sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or
he's about the conquest.
He's about the conquest. And so I think that inspires a lot of people and why he's become such a favorite. How there's still, like, Kraven's been dead for a long fucking time. And but they still retell, like they still retell stories of him. Because
Peter still holds him to a very high bar. Yeah. It was like this guy took me to the fucking limit
and beat him
times.
And buried him.
Yeah,
and wore his costume like Kraven.
I think after after Superior Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man fans will give Dr. Octavius the ultimate win over Spider-Man.
I can see that too, but I think there's also those that'll hold Norman Osborn.
Yeah, that's where I hold it, yeah.
The good thing about Spider-Man's villains is that you can put up a good argument for why this one is like the best, or the...
we just ran through a lot of high-powered rogue gallery members there in a row.
And Batman doesn't really have that. It's normally just...
what always kills me,
and Joker, and that's...
What always kills me is Batman has Joker, and that's it. That's it. No, what am I'm a Marvel guy through and through. My favorite villain of all time will always be the Joker. There's something about that guy.
It's hard for me to pick a big villain, like a favorite villain.
Oh, man, that's understandable. But for me, I mean, as much as I love Carnage, man, Joker. Jesus Christ, Joker. Joker to me is the one villain that I was actually, as a kid, and even somewhat as an adult, when you think about it, was terrifying. Because you didn't know what was going to happen. He could do something stupid like a squirt gun, or he could rape your fucking daughter. You don't fucking know what this guy's going to do. 0 to 100. This guy was a maniac.
I think my favorite rogues gallery in general might have to go to the X-Men.
Okay, yeah, no.
That's my...
probably one of my favorite comic book to read.
And even then, I probably still wouldn't put... Spider-Man even at number 2.
Well, I was going to ask you, because the next question was, because this whole conversation started with your favorite one singular character. Who's your favorite team?
I mean, my favorite team, it's tough. I think now I would say Avengers, but that's only because there was a time when, like you mentioned, Spider-Man was an entity to himself, but a lot of people were just entities to themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, the only names in the Avengers were Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. And even then, they were like B-list heroes. They weren't like, your top draw, your top
Captain America to me, like if you think about the reputation, he was like the original Roman Reigns. He was kind of, he was forced. He was developed for the good morale of the American people during the World War. He wasn't seen as a worldwide geographical hero. He was made to be a niche, go USA, pro-America guy, and it just kind of blossomed into this big thing.
My disagreement there is only that he, I don't think anyone disliked Captain America.
I didn't say dislike.
But people blew the fuck out of Roman Reigns.
Well, hey, listen, Japan wasn't big on him, and Germany wasn't big on him. On a world scale view, he was a very niche, local kind of comic book guy. I mean, not like a Superman. Superman at that time, and these two guys were running at the same time. Superman was a worldwide success.
No, because Superman was fighting in World War II and all that.
He jumped on the bandwagon after they created Captain America.
No, a lot of these comic books. Like, you know, Captain America wasn't the first World War II hero. I'm not even certain he was the best. Marvel lasted the longest, and so they were able to reintroduce their American hero.
To their liking. The winners always get to tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but there was plenty, you know, Uncle Sam was a comic book, you know, character.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah, Uncle Sam
was an actual character. Why wasn't he as Marvel Capcom?
You know, but Superman, you know, went to Germany and fought the Krauts, and you know, that's a thing that happened.
There once was a time, folks, where Superman used the term Charlie. I'm just saying.
It took time for Superman to become the symbol that he is, because now he represents more of hope, and he's a worldwide figure, and yeah, that's instantly recognizable. Captain America, during when superheroes were brought back in, I want to say the 60s, not that they stopped really ever existing, but when the comics code, the same way that, you know, weed was criminalized, you know, thanks to, you know,
oh, talk about the rating system.
Yeah, thanks to like the rating system, you know, a lot of horror and superhero stuff went away, and we saw the rise of like the romance comic book, and you know, that's really where like Archie blossomed. I was gonna say,
yeah, this was Archie's time to shine, baby.
Yeah, the
Double Digest, I'm there.
You know, Cap wasn't even original Avengers.
Isn't this when they made like Batman and Robin like the most PG fucking item of all time?
That's where it became silly, but I didn't mind the silly because that's where we got like the Adam West kind of goofy. And that's part of the reason why comic books are thought of for kids, because they were so goofy and we had to adhere to the comic code.
I still need Bamf explained to me.
I don't know, man.
Where the fuck did that sound come from? Bamf!
I don't know. I'm still stuck on zip, like ZPFFFF.
The only word for a sound that ever made snick always made sense to me. I don't know why.
I like thwip. Spider-Man
Thwip. All right, yeah,
cool.
Thwip's pretty good. All right. But snick, that always made sense.
But like
sounded like that.
But like favorite team now is Avengers, because of when Bendis was writing the Avengers, then we got Wolverine in the Avengers and Luke Cage and
I think Rogue's an Avenger now. Oh, because they combined the two.
Almost everyone's an Avenger now.
Yeah,
there's a Unity team.
There's a Unity team now. Yeah.
Freaking Sunspot's an Avenger.
After one of those so-called events that you alluded to, the A versus X event, we now have mutant Avenger team ups.
Yeah, Sunspot is one of the most powerful Avengers, and this was a dude very much like Shatterstar, show up on X-Force and nothing else. You know, New Mutants. You know, he wasn't someone that was like everywhere in Marvel, and now he's an Avenger, a U.S. Avenger.
Oh God!
You know, he
West Coast Avengers and regular Avengers and UK Avengers.
I'm waiting for the Avengers in the movies to move to California, man. It's gonna happen one day. We're gonna get the Avengers.
I don't know about that. They're making a ton of money doing the East Coast stuff.
But we're about to have all these Avengers.
Which is the next part of the story, because we're spoiled as fuck. We're from New York. We live in New York.
Yeah.
But the people down in Little Rock, Arkansas, get a little fed up with all these movies taking place in fucking New York.
Which ones?
Yeah,
most of them are not even in New York.
I'm talking about the story, the centric stories of the origins. Yeah, the kid from Brooklyn, the kid from Queens, like when they did that little scene from Civil War.
That's where comic books are being written, and
even the DC world, Metropolis was essentially, or no, Gotham. Which one was supposedly they're like next door neighbors, right?
Yeah, New York is both Gotham and Metropolis, and that's not to say that other cities didn't influence.
They're like boroughs, right? Technically. Like Gotham, Metropolis are like boroughs.
Because there are those who will argue that like Chicago was more Gotham, but like I feel like Gotham had like its own like Statue of Liberty sort of thing, and Metropolis is the skyscrapers of New York. They just represent different sides of New York. Metropolis was the was the world of tomorrow, all these skyscrapers, which oddly enough, us living in New York City, you see these new buildings that are oddly shaped in glass buildings. Yeah. Arguably, Metropolis may have inspired these. So way to go, comic books. where
so we have
the dark, seedy underbelly.
So we have comic books to thank for this god awful Freedom Tower that we got sitting here.
I would thank comic books for my education and reading.
My cognitive reasoning has come from comic books.
Seriously, it's like I didn't read a lot of novels. I still don't read a lot of novels. Nothing against them. Enjoy what you enjoy. But my mother, it was important that I read. And my mother knew that she wasn't going to get me to read novels. So I got subscriptions to Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, maybe Peter Parker Spider-Man, and X-Men. And so I would get issue after issue every month, had these subscriptions. And it's through Marvel Comics that I learned words like Acolyte, Colossus, Juggernaut, Arachnid, Carrion, Craven, and they might be team names or villain names or hero names, but they're real words.
Yeah, they're real.
And I didn't learn them from reading Greek tragedies or the Bible.
Colossus never threw me. His real name always threw me.
Peter Rasputin?
Yeah, but the way they would write it, as a kid when you're trying to figure out, like Quicksilver's real name is technically Peter.
Yeah.
But they spell it like Pietro or something like that. So you're like trying to sound that shit out, and you go to the playground and talk mad shit, and you're like, yeah, Pietro. And you're like, who the fuck is Pietro? And you're like, oh, Peter. Oh, okay, you fucking moron.
I'm Puerto Rican, and I still don't understand how the translation of William is Guillermo. But,
speaking of Puerto Ricans, all right, now that I've got you here, all right, we are technically about to shut this down soon because we're running long, but name more Spanish. Okay? Now, he's laughing. I'm going to let you guys in on what's been going on. So, yes, I told him the story, okay? So, before the Black Panther sensation, I'd say about a year ago, this really started coming up on social media. About a year ago, we were making jokes about the lack of Hispanic representation in Marvel or in comics in general. Mm-hmm. And I had brought up Neymar. And I was always under the assumption that Neymar was Hispanic. He looked Hispanic to me. He acted Hispanic to me. I mean, the guy was gangster. He was trying to get C. Richards right out from the gringo's fucking clutches, okay? He was just the man. And then, while everyone was laughing at me, I found Hispanic translation comics.
Yes.
From Neymar the Submariner. He started posting it online, and I proved once and for all. This gentleman comes from Caribbean descent, okay? He's from the islands. He's of Hispanic blood. Apparently, that's where Atlantis was found. It's in the triangle, okay? It's off into the islands here. I'm joking, but in all seriousness, I still believe to this day that Neymar is some sort of Hispanic.
I mean, hey, look, I'll take it. I'm not.
He's one of the originals. So hey, hello.
I see a big push, and this is mainly because of the way he's been drawn. But there was a big push online to maybe cast Namor as Asian, because very much like Hispanics, you don't see a lot of mainstream Asian heroes, and there are a few. It's not like they don't exist, but they're just have not succeeded into, I guess, the mainstream. I wouldn't mind seeing like a Sunfire show up in an X-Men movie and see Sunfire do his thing. Even Silver Samurai on the Wolverine movie, I didn't feel was given proper justice. But
fair.
But when I think of a Hispanic hero, and I think it knocks the homosexual hero also. We could knock it all out at once. I would love to see Living Lightning as an Avenger. I think also it'll be nice for like long-term comic book readers because he's not, that's like I had mentioned before. Like the Avengers weren't really like the top names. You had like Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, but then you'd have like Wonder Man. Hawkeye was nowhere near as popular as he is now.
Thank you, Jeremy Renner.
You had like maybe a triathlon. Triathlon was an Avenger. Rage from the New Warriors briefly. Firestar, I think.
They needed fodder.
There's all like these kind of like C-list. If Captain America and
fun fact about Firestar, the original Harley Quinn, she was not a comic book character. Spider-Man and Friends got her over, and then she became a comic book character at that point. It was still given OG status. She came in and she was the veteran somehow out of nowhere.
she's someone who did spend time. Who's another one? I don't know, but you'd have all like these like lesser known Avengers. And to be fair, like we have a Vision and the Ant-Man on the team, but we also have like Spider-Man on the team, and Doctor Strange was never. I mean, he's been an Avenger, but that's like a recent development. Yeah. I would love to see like a Living Lightning. I think hardcore Avenger fans who've been watching would appreciate that.
That actually answers the next question, which is what characters in the comics have we not seen in live action you'd like to see? So that actually fills into that. I'm gonna, since you already answered that, I'll transition to another. Why haven't we seen Namor yet? He's one of the original Marvel characters, and why has that been so difficult to translate to movies?
It's funny because I've seen that recently in like there's a news article about it recently that kind of explained it. So just like there was all these film rights issues, I'm sure a lot of people thought maybe Fox had Namor because they got the Fantastic Four. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've always called it Namor. You say Namor, and it's I'm just gonna call a spade and say the Submariner.
Okay.
And,
there you
go. But Universal Studios, the same company that has the Hulk, is the ones who has the right to.
So they've literally just been sitting on this.
Yeah,
during the midst of this entire comic book fiesta, they were sitting on one of the original characters of all time, and they'd never thought
they have.
Maybe now's the time.
Well, I'm not even sure if they necessarily have like the rights to make a movie. I'm not sure how the rights issues work.
Right.
But like, so the Hulk is in the MCU. But he never gets his own movie because Universal has the distribution rights.
Right.
So, arguably, Marvel could have the Submariner show up. And maybe assuming that nothing blocks the deal, but by the end of 2018, we'll see Disney purchase and the Fox Studios. Not necessarily all of Fox. They get to keep their news and sports, but all of their entertainment properties, Fox Movie Studios, 20th Century Fox. So they'll get the Fantastic Four, and maybe it'll give them a good enough reason to bring in the Submariner.
They already have it.
Well, no. This deal is still going through. It's basically in the bag, but you can always have something like the U.S. government intervene to prevent things like
monopolization.
Yeah. So until the end, I'm not giving it. I'm waiting until the end of 2018 for this to be official. Disney has acquired these rights.
Right.
And maybe once they officially have these rights, we'll see Fantastic Four movie, and with the Fantastic Four movie, maybe we can see the Submariner show up. Even if they don't show up there, maybe we can see the real Defenders. No disrespect to the Netflix show, but maybe we can see the real Defenders show up in the movies. We get Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and the Submariner together as the Defenders.
I want to see the Illuminati together.
So cool.
That would be just interesting to go all those characters all meshing together all at once.
That'd be so
cool. Would be officially cool. So we're coming to an end here, and again, we're here to celebrate Comic Book Week in the capacity that, again, this Friday Infinity War drops, 10 years, 18 films. They I think originally planned for 3 phases just to see how the shit would go, but this shit is making so much goddamn money. We're already Captain Marvel's on deck. Another Ant-Man has already been trailered out. I mean, this motherfucker is rolling. This machine is on point right now. So James Cameron can suck a fat one because we've got plans.
By the way, hold on. As far as the James Cameron thing, if you're one of those people that are waiting for the comic book things to go away, Marvel Comics has not stopped pop culture from existing.
Yeah.
Get Out. I don't necessarily say that horror and sci-fi are the same thing, but just like anime and comic books, I feel like they're in the same family. So Get Out to me is a sci-fi film, and that was popular. What's the other one? It's not called Be Quiet, is it? It's
A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
Yes.
To me, that's a science fiction film.
Yeah.
And even if it, depending on whether you think it's good or not, whether it be the new Cloverfield movie that's in Netflix or
Cloverfield Paradox,
or Bright, the Will Smith movie.
Right.
These are science fiction movies that have been in the conversation of pop culture. Marvel is not stopping other science fiction properties from existing. If you really feel that way, shut the fuck up. Have your opinion.
Right.
But keep it to your goddamn self, because it's not true.
Or at the least point, if you're tired of seeing these movies, then get off your ass and do what you've been planning to do for forever and put your shit out. Because how long have we been sitting here waiting for? But you know what it is? He has been at the head of that table for so long with his movies that someone comes along and is challenging that, and now he has a problem. Like you put out movies on your time at your speed because no one can fuck with you. Well, now someone's fucking with you. So if you feel like the big dog, put your shit out already because we're all gonna shit on it. Avatar was fine by itself. We don't need 2, 3, 4 fucking avatars.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm not interested in the. I'm more interested in the technology because I've watched Avatar not in the theaters, and it's not as impressive.
That's what should really piss him off.
And
Avengers shouldn't piss him off. Ready Player One should piss him off. If you think about it, because that's what James Cameron's been bringing to the table all along. He changes the game cinematically. There's always something different and that he tweaks and he does that's a little different from everybody else, sets his films apart. Steven Spielberg just wiped his ass with that.
Yeah.
Ready Player One looks amazing.
Ready Player One looks great. Freaking Jumanji is...
I heard good things about Jumanji,
which I have not seen, but is officially the top-grossing Sony film of all time.
There you go. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, baby.
And that is a science fiction film. Teens get sucked into a video game and now live through their avatars. That's science fiction, baby. That is some 80s Goonies weird science.
Shit. Yes. Exactly.
That is.
What was the movie with Fred Savage and the monster under the bed?
Oh my God! Why don't I know the Little Monsters?
Little Monsters.
There we go.
Is that the one with the video game obsession, or is that a different movie?
No. That was The Wizard.
The Wizard. Right.
To me, this is an amazing thing that we see. There's science fiction other than Marvel making waves, making money, and so the whole idea that Marvel or comic books in general is
we just got here. Fatigue? What do you mean?
a good friend of mine, who maybe if I mention that I've mentioned him, he'll listen to the podcast. So I was like, look, manipulating people.
There you go.
But a friend of mine, Nico,
you have to buy their love.
A friend of mine named Nico, he had mentioned that Marvel really only comes out with about 3 movies a year. So how is that?
But they're all encompassing when they do.
Yeah, no.
I mean, Black Panther just broke records in February. That's hardly ever seen.
No, I agree. But it's Star Wars still does its thing. And
in spite of all the criticism, there's still the last 2 are 2 of the highest grossing films of all time.
Yeah.
They're in the conversation.
And it's not like, and while Fast and the Furious isn't science fiction
also
per se,
but
that's
some of those fucking stunts are ridiculous.
It's a little hard to believe. You're kind of
a little ridiculous. Suspending my disbelief.
But
oh, you guys can outrun a submarine? Cool shit. Cool story, bro.
Plenty of science fiction movies have gotten their due.
Yeah.
These alien prequels have gotten their love. No one's going broke.
Yeah.
Stop it. Just stop.
It has less to do with what's coming out and more to do with the fact that you haven't put shit out.
Yeah.
Put shit out.
Yeah.
Let's see where it stands and then we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been a great addition to the AJ Orsini Rogue Gallery of episodes, Orsini's Uncensored Mind. This is episode 31, and we are in Comic Book Week. And thank you guys for downloading ajoum.podbean.com. We're going to continue Comic Book Week all the way through, including Friday. So while you guys are all out there enjoying your Infinity War movies and your tickets and making the rest of us jealous, we will be continuing Comic Book Week. So thank you guys for checking out the show. I already gave you the Podbean link. Again, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, and the TuneIn Radio app. And I want to thank you guys once again, especially my folks out in Ghana and Germany and all across the United States. Thank you guys for downloading the show. Thank you for being a fan. Orsini is out.
At my house. Listen to my daddy so. Orsini is mine.